Hello, good morning from Anaheim Rod and Custom. This is Matthew Means. I wanted to take a moment to share something with you guys that is extremely difficult to do and understand. And I know that we're going to run into this if we're working on any car pre-1947, 1946, and you have a two-piece rear axle or a tapered hub on an axle shaft, right? So this rear brake drum is held on with a hub that is basically impacted onto a tapered axle. And there's a keyway in there that holds it in place, right? So what we have to do is we actually need a tool that's going to exert massive amounts of force onto this hub to split this hub off that axle so we can remove our rear brake drum. Now this early Ford drum has what's called a safety retainer. This safety retainer, basically, if your axle breaks, this keeps the hub from coming off. So, because it's driven quite a bit, it's quite dirty, but that's why we're doing right now is we're cleaning everything and making it look better and doing some repairs. So I'm going to take off the retainer, which basically uses the bolts that hold the wheel cylinder in. That's my first step here. I'm going to set these off to the side. Keep all my parts organized. That is important. Okay, now I'm going to back the axle nut off. And I'm going to flip it around the other way. This is so I don't ruin the axle nut when I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Classic. Be careful with your threads. Okay, it doesn't need to go all the way on. We need a little space here. We're gonna leave that on there, okay? Now, we have to put on the hub puller, which basically is like a giant reverse battering ram. So 3 of these arms get put on in different locations on the hub. And this is the part that basically will pull the hub off. So this pulls against the hub. You no need to hammer down the bolts here, but I tighten them so there's plenty of thread on all the bolts, right? Now I put the main puller portion in place and I screw this down. So what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to use a combination of forces. We're going to use impact and rotational force to get this thing off. So we're going to be using a hammer on this end, which is going to push this. It's also going to it's basically what this does, right? How this has like a pop, 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 pop sound, right? We're doing that, but we're doing that manually. You want to take advantage of this small little indent in the bend of the axle right there. And this nut is on backwards, but you do want that nut far enough that you can engage the point on the end of this puller into that space for safety, because it'll keep it centered. So there's a little gap. There's enough of a gap that my axle can pop off, my hub can pop off, right? But it's also retained. See, it won't move. It's stuck right there. You are going to be hitting this with a hammer. Now's the exciting part. Just like an impact driver, it's just Fred Flintstones. There we go. That one was an easy one. Your car that has had the axle on there for the last 50 years is not going to be that easy. But you can see, even an easy one wasn't that easy. So I've already split the hub and axle apart. And so I took my nut all the way off and I took the washer off, put my tool back on, and now I can just see by hand, you can see the hub sliding off. I can just slide the hub the rest of the way off. Till it gets easy. It's getting pretty easy at this point. All right. Now I can take all this off one final time, and my hub should pull off. So work your drum off. And you can actually see this is the tapered, this is the axle, this is the hub, this is the spot that was bonded, essentially, right here, right? And then here's the keyway. So when you put this back together, that has to be lined up. Thank you for spending time with us today. And of course, if there's anything you can think of that you're doing on your old car that you have questions about, you want us to do a short video on, send us an email. Thank you. See you later.